So, today we're going to be talking a lot about stress, trauma, and longevity. Ultimately, stress is probably the number one thing that impacts our longevity and our health and wellness. There are types of stress that are beneficial. One example that's coming to my mind right now is stress on our bones has to happen in order for our bones to grow stronger. If we don't have impact and use our skeletal system, and then our bones don't grow stronger. They actually need exposure to stress in order to strengthen into solid, hard bone. Increased heart rate and blood pressure over prolonged periods of time is not synonymous with longevity and ultimate health and wellness. Because the psoas muscle is responding to primal fears, it's linked to a lot of ancestral epigenetic information and coding because our fear for survival has been passed down from the very first human ancestors that we have. Oxidative stress is stress that triggers overproduction of free radicals. Perhaps it has some real meaning and weight for us all to consider. And that is that stress is the primary trigger that turns on or turns off different genes in our DNA. In the end, they're all just different levels of energy and frequency. And in the end, everything is operating on a base of energy and frequency. Emotional weight, emotional burdens that we carry, emotional energy that we hold on to or have trapped can become physical manifestations. There's this idea that our body doesn't even always know the difference between a car accident that we had or a decade of grief. Memory is stored everywhere. The energy of a memory is stored and it can be stored for a very long time in the physical body. There are these protective caps on our DNA. They're called telomeres, and they are scientifically proven to like fray and peel apart under the influence of chronic stress and chronic stress hormones, which causes our cells to age and die prematurely. This chronic low-grade inflammation is essentially the cause of nearly all of our age-related diseases. And stress is the primary fuel for this process of chronic low-grade inflammation. All of these are inflammation. And remember, anything ending in itis just means inflammation. And we have a lot of science terms about our body that we get diagnosed when we go into the doctor, where literally they're just telling you, yep, this is inflamed. Carditis would be inflammation of the heart tissues, which we label as heart disease, but it's literally just an itis, and it's just telling us that there's inflammation. So many of our diagnoses that we receive from the medical doctor are just saying, yep, you have inflammation. And phlegm will manifest not just as mucus, like phlegmy mucus in our system, but also as acne, cysts, and tumors in our body. All of those things and certain cancerous tumors would be considered phlegm in the traditional sense. Stress from fear depletes our kidney chi, and our kidney jing are finite. They are not infinite. The spleen can produce pretty much infinite energy if we are putting the right fuel into our system. The kidney chi, though, is something that once we deplete it, it's gone. There is no really like building it back up again. Nutrition, when we think about nutrition, it's not just fuel or calories for energy, it's also biological software for our DNA. Because, yes, calories provide energy, but nutrients provide data. And every bite of food or drink or beverage is sending chemical signals or messages to your body, to your tissues, and to your cells. And so we have all these people who hit their 40s, 50s, 60s, and don't understand why they can't get the fat off. But then when we really look at the diet and the patterns and the signals that have been sent over the last 30, 40, 50 years, we see that the signals have been sending a stress response over and over and over and over again, which has put the body into fat storage mode because it doesn't feel safe. So we aren't just feeding our hunger, we're programming our own biology through our food. And by choosing specific foods and supplements, we have the opportunity to tell our nervous system and our body that we are safe to thrive and that it's not just about survival. And it's clinically proven to disrupt the viral replication of the herpes virus in the body. So, whether it's coming from herpes zoster, which is shingles, or the herpes complex that is either affecting like face and mouth or genitals, L-lysine is disrupts the viral replication